So one of my earliest gaming memories is playing Sonic Adventure DX on the GameCube, and I loved it. I loved the cheesy interweaving stories, I loved the upgrades and how they would appear on the character, and that hub world. I remember trying to glide under this wooden path as Knuckles, imagining I could find some secret area like another Chao Garden. And I mean, more often than not, that kind of exploration was rewarded, even if it didn't work out in this case. But nowadays, it's remembered as a pretty controversial game, with a lot of side characters especially taking a lot of flack. And I mean, alright, I love Big the Cat, but I get why other people don't want fishing in their Sonic game.
But I actually think the deeper problem is how people are playing these campaigns. If you're playing them straight through all at once, then of course all the campaigns are going to look small and wimpy next to Sonic's longer story.
But I think these side characters are meant to be short pacing breaks from the more fleshed out Sonic story. I think the game's core issue is not that these campaigns are bad, it's that people are trying to play them one at a time. I'm not going to say good campaigns wouldn't be better, but I also think there's a deeper issue, because the core design and design challenges of Sonic Adventure have been misunderstood. Because at its core, Sonic Adventure is, well, it's okay, you know how they have those foods that are deconstructed? Well, Sonic Adventure is like Mario 64 deconstructed. Wait, let me explain. Forget Sonic Adventure's emblems, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Instead, I want you to imagine Sonic Adventure levels as Mario 64 levels, and each character's run through that level is a different star. So Emerald Coast has 3 stars: Linear Path, Shoot 'em Up, and Fishing. And Speed Highway's 3 stars are Linear Path, Race to the Finish, and Treasure Hunt. I'd also like to point out that the Speed Highway stars actually have analogs in Bomb Battlefield. Linear Path is the fight with King Bomb, Race to the Finish is obviously the race with Koopa the Quick, and the Treasure Hunt is the 8-Red Coin Star. For the uninitiated, the way Sonic Adventure works is each character has a certain type of level: Linear Path, Race to the Finish, Treasure Hunting, Escape, Fishing, and Shoot 'em Up. And when you play as that character, you play through a series of levels in that style. So I said Emerald Coast has 3 stars, that's because 3 different characters play through it. It's not like Mario 64 where the open-ended course is in one place and you enter to collect stars. But if you think about Mario 64 more abstractly, if you understand that different stars are really just ways to get you to view the same level, the same area, from different angles, then Sonic Adventure is just Mario 64 cut up and rearranged into something much more ambitious. And I think this way of viewing Sonic Adventure helps us see its core design challenge. It's the same challenge as Mario 64. See, Mario 64 is what I call a sampler, a type of collectathon that encourages you to sample levels and then backtrack, as opposed to games like Banjo-Kazooie that encourage you to mine each level thoroughly as you go. Like, the first 2 stars of Bomb Battlefield are both about reaching the top of the mountain. They'd be boring played back to back. Same with the first 2 stars of Whomp's Fortress. Clearly you're supposed to leave those levels and come back before trying the 2nd star. And beyond that, jumping around to different locations can help each location feel fresh. The race with Koopa the Quick is a lot more exciting if you're coming back after having explored other areas. So Mario 64 employs a bunch of tricks to get you to sample levels before you backtrack. It boots you out of a level every time you collect a star. It gives you written messages telling you to explore the castle after your 1st and 3rd stars. It locks doors in such a way that you can play 5 courses before you need to backtrack. And with very minimal backtracking, you unlock a whole new wing of the castle with even more courses. And lastly, some courses gate collectibles behind power-ups that you will need to play different courses to unlock. By contrast, Sonic Adventure gets players to change courses almost incidentally. Changing courses is out of the player's hands, in fact, since each campaign plays through a different sampling of courses in a different order. So, problem solved, right? Well, no, because a new problem emerges. Just like it is boring to play the same area over and over right in a row, I find it boring to play the same style over and over right in a row. Sonic Adventure successfully got you to change courses, but didn't get you to change playstyles. And well, that's my thesis. I think Sonic Adventure is misunderstood, and not because I think everyone should love it. The hub world quests to open the levels are poorly implemented. The cutscenes are tacky and way too long. The bosses are often boring. It has its share of issues. But I think the game is misunderstood because I think its biggest issue is undiagnosed. I am positing that many people wouldn't mind its other flaws / weird choices nearly as much if the game was persuading them to change campaigns and therefore playstyles frequently. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and you can agree or disagree in the comments below because this game is so weird and I genuinely love to hear other takes. But having now said all that, it feels weird not to discuss solutions, right? I can't hear you, but I'm gonna pretend you said right. So first I need to talk about the sequel. The sequel tries to get around this core problem by having multiple playstyles per campaign. That way you don't need to switch campaigns to find yourself sampling playstyles. But with only 2 campaigns, the sequel feels less ambitious. And ultimately, I just don't like this solution. I like the idea of 1 playstyle per campaign, and I like the idea of switching campaigns frequently to see the same story beats from new angles. And I like what Sonic Adventure 1 is doing by repeating areas, but with different playstyles. So what would I do? Well, maybe I'd look to Mario 64. I wouldn't boot players out of campaigns, that would be disruptive to the play experience. But Mario 64 does have these prompts that appear to tell you to explore the castle. Sonic Adventure kind of does this, it tells you when you unlock a new character, but the game doesn't really encourage you to go try that new character. Maybe if you just had a prompt when you unlocked a new character that said, "Begin Knuckles campaign?" and the default answer was, yes. Maybe that would make switching more attractive and seamless to players. You could even expand this out. You could have it ask you this prompt every time you encounter another character in your story, but I could see that getting a little annoying to players. Another Mario 64 trick is gating certain missions behind power-ups like the wing cap or metal cap. We could do something similar in Sonic Adventure by gating missions in one campaign behind an event in another campaign. Like this cave just seems to blow up in Sonic's campaign. What if you had to blow it up with Knuckles before it opened for Sonic? Of course, in the current order of events, that wouldn't work, but ignore that. You would definitely need to telegraph a roadblock like that very clearly, lest a confused player not understand how to progress. And the major downside with the solution is that when some people, especially speedrunners, replay this game, they prefer playing through Sonic's story exclusively, and that would not be possible if we intertwined the campaigns in this way. But the real advantage Mario 64 has over Sonic Adventure is that Mario 64's levels are divided by space in a hub world, whereas Sonic Adventure's campaigns are separated by menus. To change campaigns in Sonic Adventure, you have to go to the pause menu, choose Quit Game, reassure the game that you do want to quit, and then re-enter the game as a different character. And can we just all admit that that's kind of crazy, that I have to select Quit Game in order to play more game? So if I were trying to change player behavior, I would want physical spaces in the world, in each adventure zone, where you could access the character wheel. Maybe they look like these teleport pads from Chow Garden. These could double as spawn points for those adventure zones, so when you change characters, they appear on the teleporter in whatever the appropriate adventure zone is for their story. And if you change characters and then decide to switch back, the character you're switching back to spawns right where you left them. It could feel very seamless. Of these ideas, only the last one feels like it keeps player agency wholly intact, but I'm not sure that one is enough to change player behavior. I like my ideas, but I don't know that this problem has a silver bullet. So yeah, anyway, I still love this game. Don't know if I'd recommend it exactly, but if you do give it a shot, try to sample. Switch campaigns frequently. Take in the scenery. It can be really refreshing, but you gotta go slow.